let's get to Donald Trump dub. The Supreme Court has agreed to keeping Trump on the Colorado ballot and rejecting the 14th Amendment push, which was, of course, expected, unless you were super libbed up and super primed into believing that it somehow wasn't going to happen, the most likely thing that was going to happen.
This is a win for former President Trump. Here, the Supreme Court has reversed a ruling from the Colorado Supreme Court that would have removed former President Trump from the ballot under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, the so-called insurrectionist ban. Now, this is very much what we expected based on what we saw about a month ago during oral argument. Justices on both sides of the aisle appeared skeptical of Colorado's argument that Trump could be removed by the state under the 14th Amendment. So this is a huge win. It means that former President Trump will appear on the primary ballot. And this applies not only to Colorado, but also to states across the country, because as we've seen, many states have tried this way of removing Trump from the ballot. It was considered a novel, long shot way to bump Trump out of eligibility for the White House. But here, the Supreme Court, as you know, the final word on constitutional questions, saying no, it is up to Congress, not the states, to do this.
CNN is such dog. They're basically Fox News now. Guys, come on. It would have been ridiculous to be able to take Trump off the ballot, regardless of the legalese surrounding it, and regardless of the content that it potentially creates because of the chaos. It's like wild if that were to follow. Shut the up, Shadows. The objective standard is literally that taking Trump off the ballot is unconstitutional. Yeah, it's just like, it's one of the few good things about America is that you can literally be on the ballot even if you're in prison. Like, we don't even allow prisoners to vote. We don't allow former prisoners to vote that are no longer prisoners. But if you're in prison, you can run for president. And that's a good thing. No, I'm not even joking when I say this. Like, I think it's a good thing. It's a great thing. I think we should have more of that way of thinking in the United States of America. And what I mean by that is allowing prisoners to vote would be good. Allowing felons to vote would be good. Felony vote restoration is a major, major issue in this country. You know, we should be moving in the opposite direction. Of course, if this wasn't Trump and it was like some socialist dude that was like genuinely popular, let's say, like a Eugene Debs type situation, I feel like the Supreme Court now would probably rule against him. But because it's Trump, of course they're going to defend him. But it doesn't matter. The constitutionality of it still holds, and it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, Laura and Paula, and they're doing this on the eve of Super Tuesday, which makes sense, and I guess gives us some sense that the Supreme Court is looking at the political calendar, not just the legal calendar. All right, Laura and Paula, thank you. Let me go. Joan Biskupik is on set with us, as well as Dana Bash and Ellie Honig. Joan, your sense of this?
Well, first of all, it's 9-0 to reverse the Colorado Supreme Court. So
there's a fundamental dichotomy between Trump and Debs, which was that Debs was literally convicted of a crime while Trump was not convicted of being an insurrectionist. No. What I'm simply stating is, even when you are convicted of a crime, you can still run, and that's a good thing. I'm saying that even in the most extreme scenario where you are convicted of a crime and you're serving a prison sentence, you can still run for president, and I think that's a good thing. I like that. I'm saying that this would be scaling back the allowances of the law in the opposite direction. And I don't think that that's valid. I don't think it's a good thing at all.
But the justices actually split on how far to go. The majority decision, written as a per curiam, likely by the Chief Justice of the United States because it's unsigned, gives much more authority to Congress about when someone should be disqualified. And Justices Barrett, and then the three liberals write separately. And what's key here is
do you have to be convicted of an insurrectionist to be deemed an insurrectionist in the eye of the law? No, they'll say that plenty of people were not convicted as an insurrectionist after the Civil War, but were branded as such, which I don't think is a good standard to apply outside of the Civil War. That's what I think. I don't care about the precedent that you think that you think exists in this circumstance. I do, however, believe that if it wasn't Trump, I don't think that it would have. If someone was genuinely like presenting an issue to the pre-existing hierarchies, like if it was like a Bernie Sanders, but like even more popular, and he was like being investigated for seditious conspiracies, then I do think that they would have made sure that Bernie couldn't be on the ballot. Obviously, this is a pure hypothetical and no such thing exists. But overall, as it stands, this was a good decision, in my opinion. I don't think that's something that we should be doing, is like taking people off the ballot.
This is the important part, that even though they came out and gave us something unanimous that's very useful in the political scheme, especially for tomorrow, for Super Tuesday, it shows how divided the Supreme Court still is, because the three liberals broke off and said, you majority are going too far in terms of how you would dictate the rules for future disqualifications. And again, it was the three liberals specifically writing on this: Justice Sotomayor, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and our newest Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, Justice Barrett, one of Donald Trump's appointees, the third one, in fact, split off a bit.
I feel like this also shows like how much media narratives change the minds of people, because like even the liberal justices are in agreement on the standard here, and yet there are still people in this community that are like, oh, actually that, like I don't care. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I guess maybe they're just motivated
Also, but not joining the liberals.
Interesting. And Ellie, I just want to read, it looks like page 13 of this. It says, for the reasons given, responsibility for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress and not the states.
Right.
The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court therefore cannot stand. So they're saying essentially that Congress has to make this decision whether there are insurrectionists who need to be kept off of ballots. Is that essentially what they're saying here?
Essentially what they're saying is it's up to Congress to tell us how this works. So if Congress had, let's say 50 years ago, Congress had passed a law saying we're going to let the states do it, so long as they abide by due process, then what Colorado did would have been fine. But Congress has done essentially nothing in the 150 years since the 14th Amendment was ratified in 1868. Now, I want to make sure people understand this. It's a very important feature of this decision. There is no substantive discussion in here by the Supreme Court of whether Donald Trump did or did not engage in insurrection.
Interesting.
Who should be able to vote? Who should not be able to vote? I think everyone should be able to vote. Literally everyone. Every single person that is an American citizen should be allowed to vote. Yes, that even includes convicted files. What do you think? They're going to vote to lower the age of consent? Is that what you think is going to go? Is that what you think is going to happen? The only people that get to successfully do that already are like not even convicted files, but just Republicans. Kids? No. Come on, guys. No. As long as you're above the age of 18, okay? Jesus Christ. Even lower it. At 16, voting age, nothing else. Don't get any fucking weird ideas. Criminals are going to vote to legalize murder. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. The unconvicted files are the ones who get to make those decisions anyway, you know? Don't come crying to me when they make murder legal. Yeah.
I will be shocked if Donald Trump doesn't, as soon as he can, get out there and argue not only that the Supreme Court is behind him, but he's probably going to argue, even though there's nothing in here that specifically says, as Ellie so importantly pointed out, anything about what happened on January 6th. It's just procedural about whether the states or Congress have a right. He will claim victory, and I'm guessing he will do it in a more broad way than this decision actually says.
Yeah, and Joan, I mean, there are countless Americans out there who believe that the Supreme Court just bailed out Donald Trump here, and that they're going to bail him. They might bail him out again on the immunity issue, which I know a lot of folks feel like that's not going to happen. But the fact that can got kicked down the road means that the January 6th trial may not happen in federal court.
And what you're referring to there is the fact that the justices have scheduled an oral argument for the week of April 22nd on whether Donald Trump should be immune from criminal prosecution for election subversion. But let me just...
Yes, the immunity issue is significantly more important. And I think that the fact that they pushed it back implies that they're probably not going to, like, that's the greatest layup that they can give to Donald Trump, which implies that their decision is going to be that he is not immune. Because I feel like if they were going to find him immune, which would be insane. Like, that is literally the one thing the one good thing that the United States of America was built on. Many of the other foundational principles are bad, you know, white supremacy, genocide of the native population, chattel slavery. These are very bad principles that the United States was founded on. The one W that we have, 1776 all day, baby, is that we are not a monarchy. So giving the president king-like powers over the law is insane. It is just like, I don't think you can find one goddamn American that would agree with that position unless they're like totally just lost in the sauce. It is literally the one thing that is so principally un-American. Law tip, apparently the PDF metadata on the decision lists the liberals writing a dissent in part. Roberts probably pressured them to concur to a 9-0 to maintain institutional legitimacy, or what's left of it. A little bit of palace intrigue for you. Oh, you really think sugar baby Clarence Thomas is going to rule against Trump on the immunity thing? It doesn't matter. I don't care what and one justice says. Overall, there's no way, especially considering that like this opens up full-blown immunity to every president. Like, I don't know how you can massage your way out of that to like make a specific carve out just for Trump, which would mean that a president, no, it doesn't matter that the court is stacked, guys. No, there are instances where like the impact of a decision like that would be far more damning. Like I said, Biden could just like go and assassinate Trump then. Okay. Sick.
Tell you what concerned the three liberals about this ruling and how far the majority went. And just reading it now, their concern was that the majority went further than they needed for this particular case and essentially is over-favoring Donald Trump. Ultimately, under the guise of providing a more, quote, complete explanation for the judgment, the majority resolves many unsettled questions about Section 3, that's Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, the anti-insurrectionist ban. It forecloses judicial enforcement of that provision, such as might occur when a party is prosecuted by an insurrectionist and raises defense on that score. I mean, it's the language hints of what's happening with Donald Trump right now. So I think that's their concern, is that the fuller majority has gone further. Now, this is a concurrence.
So Donald Trump has enough riz to stay on the ballot? Gyat. Yep. Donald Trump has the gyat to stay on the ballot. Here is our big, beautiful boy, our glorious former President Trump, reacting to the Supreme Court decision, okay, in front of many flags. Let me tell you, many flags, the biggest and boldest and most beautiful flags you've ever seen. It's got the gold outline, which means this is Admiralty Court. Maritime Admiralty Court for my sovereign citizens. I am a sovereign citizen myself.
I want to start by thanking the Supreme Court for its unanimous decision today. It was a very important decision. We're very well crafted. And while we're on the subject, and another thing that will be coming up very soon will be immunity for a president. And not immunity for me, but for any president. If a president doesn't have full immunity, you really don't have a president, because nobody that is serving in that office will have the courage to make, in many cases, what would be the right decision, or it could be the...
That's insane. I love that he's like, okay, this one decision is good, which is why I should get immunity. Presenting it as like, dude, oh my God. Supreme Court gives Trump immunity from criminal prosecution. Trump wins the election, pardoned himself, regardless of what an investigation, regardless of what the previous investigations or the previous court cases conclude. Then it's just like however many term limits he wants, baby. What are you gonna do? He's above the law. America reaches its darkest hour.
The wrong decision. It could be in some cases.
Trump wants to be the Muad'Dib. He is the Muad'Dib for for HVAC business owners.
It's the wrong decision, but they have to make decisions, and they have to make them free of all terror that can be rained upon them when they leave office or even before they leave office. And some decisions are very tough. I can tell you that as a president, that some decisions to make are very tough. I took out ISIS, and I took out some...
Why do you hit that terror like he's JFK?
When you make a decision, you don't want to have your opposing party or opponent or even somebody that just thinks you're wrong bring a criminal suit against you or any kind of a suit when you leave office. I have that right now at a level that nobody's ever seen before. I have rogue prosecutors. They had a Hillary Clinton lawyer leave the law firm, very prestigious big law firm, leave the law firm to go into the DA's office to get Trump, Pomerantz, Mr. Pomerantz. So he goes in to become a prosecutor.
This should have been a 1-minute video, and I was wondering why it was a 12-minute video, and then I realized that it's just he's just rambling on about we're halfway through the yapathon.
Goes in to prosecute Donald Trump at a local level in total coordination with the Department of Justice, meaning Biden. And then you have the Fannie.
No, he is a YouTuber at heart, dude. He's a YouTuber at heart, baby. Let me tell you. He's trying to hit that 10 minutes so he can get the ad rev. He's trying to sneak in a mid-roll.
Willis, or as she would say, Fani, But if the president does a good job, a president should be free and clear and frankly celebrated for having done a good job, not indicted.
President should be celebrated. It is now going to be illegal not to celebrate me in my second term. Once I assume the role of president once again, if you're not celebrating me, you're going to jail. Ladies and gentlemen, you might not know this, even though you are very active and involved in American politics, as evidenced by the fact that you're in here listening to me yap around. But Super Tuesday is coming up.
Candidates are preparing for Super Tuesday tomorrow, the busiest day of the primary campaign. Former President Donald Trump won 3 GOP caucuses Saturday, adding to his lead in delegates. And he had more good news from a CBS News poll showing him leading President Biden nationwide.
Jesus Christ. Holy moly. This race is so cooked on every front. You got 2 corpses being trotted around. One of them is like openly a criminal. The other one is a genocidal monster who thinks it's like 1967, the year. And now Americans are saying they choose the a little bit marginally less demented guy over the marginally more demented guy.
With your help, we will win big on Super Tuesday.
Campaigning in North Carolina and Virginia over the weekend, Donald Trump told supporters the general election is near.
The first 3 elections of my adult life are absolute dog. Brother, they're going to continue to be dog. I'm letting you know right now. There's just not. They were dog before you existed on this earth as well.
Only 26% said they believe Joe Biden is okay. 43% said that about Trump. Neither one of those numbers are good. What can Joe Biden do? This keeps coming up over and over and over again to convince voters that he's up for the job.
Oh my
You're going
God.
to see him.
Oh my God. Oh my God. 43% said only Donald Trump is mentally cognitive to serve as president. 26%. 26% said only Joe Biden. Oh my God. Dude, yeah. Both of them is me. I'm the cool guy that said, I'm the guy that says, yeah, no, both Biden and Trump are mentally okay. No, that 6% is just like the only people remaining in the country that still vote and answer telephone polls that that are over the age of 87. Dude, 26% said only Joe Biden. That is so, he is so cooked, my man. Oh my God, it's so funny. I'm laughing, even though it is a devastating situation, of course, but I'm laughing because I was so right, as always. To the people in the chat that were like, oh, Hasan, you don't understand, like, they're both bad. It's like, no, but Americans definitely do perceive one as worse mentally.
God bless you all.